the decision to do different parts and to do stronger parts has been very, very like, it's been a decision.
Correct.
To not just do flimsy parts. I feel like I'm glad that I realized very early on that you need to train as an actor, basic stuff, in order to do this job. So she's not criminally wrong, but she's a woman of today who's confused about things, who will go to her best friend and be like, you know, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong, but what do I do? All I can do is make them realize that I am an actor. Now you want to give me the chance? Great. You still don't want to give me the chance? Okay, now what to do? Hi, this is Sandeepa Dhar and you're watching me on IWMBuzz.
Hi everyone, this is Kunal. You're watching me on IWMBuzz and sitting with me is none other than Sandeepa Dhar. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, the best part, my favorite thing whenever I am in an interview is having a pre-conversation before the conversation, because it's so much fun. It establishes a vibe and everything goes great.
Right.
So, I'll start with, of course, the fantastic title we're talking about, Amazon MX Players, Pyar Ka Professor.
Yes.
And as I was telling you that I find the most interesting thing about that is it's already different, not just on the, face of it, but in its actuality as well, from the MX Player titles we are used to otherwise, and in the best way possible. My question is that, I also heard you mentioning, not just here, but otherwise, that a lot of it is improv, and that's great, because improv brings in so much, novelty, and it's great that you have a director who's very receptive about it as well. My question is that, of course, a lot of that is also based on the camaraderie you share, right, with not just with the director, but with actors as well. Because some actors can be a little finicky about it, apart from the writer, right? So a show like this is not just really about writing. It's more about the camaraderie and then what translates. So was that a factor for you as well from the get-go? Or is it like, we'll still be professional if at all things work or don't work?
See, when I signed the show, I didn't know both of them. I had known Mahesh, who plays Pankaj, my husband, in a very different capacity.
Right.
He used to work with Mukesh Chabra, the casting director.
Of course.
So he has taken my auditions back in the day.
Awesome.
So I knew him from there.
Yeah.
And with casting directors, they're very formal. You don't know them on a very, at least I didn't know them on a very friendly basis.
Right.
So I thought of him as this very stern, serious individual, which kind of was like, I don't know how is he, Pankaj on paper is a very nice, simple, funny guy.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be funny, but he just comes across as funny.
True.
So Mahesh is that, I don't know, he's very serious, Pranav I had not met. I had just had a Zoom call with him and the director and the writers. So I went with my gut feel. I felt like if someone's written what they've written, because Pranav who plays, Faisal has also co-written the show. I was like, uska sensibility correct. So I was like, if someone's sensibility is correct, then I feel like I'll be fine in that space professionally.
Right.
Now, whether you will gel with the actor, not gel with the actor, that's destiny in a way.
Right.
But I remember we did our first, reading. They were in Delhi, we were in Bombay, so we did a Zoom reading. And it just happened.
Yeah.
We were all doing our lines and it just kind of felt right.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I think we're fine. And then when we got onto set, I feel like it happened so organically. The friendship, the chemistry, what people are talking about, which is very evident in the show.
Absolutely.
It just kind of happened. I feel like the writing also has a part to play in it.
Right.
Because we had very interesting scenes, we would rehearse, improvise, we would say, what if I say this, what if I say that? And both the actors are very open to suggestions, to, if sometimes, if I'm doing a scene and I'm not feeling you're being authentic.
Correct.
So I could tell both of them and they could tell me that, it's not feeling real. It should be we look at this. And I feel like maybe that's how, good shows kind of happen.
Right.
I don't know.
No, absolutely. I agree. That's why I mentioned that camaraderie is so important.
Yeah.
And how it translates, fabulous. And of course, not many know, and even if people do, maybe they don't realize it as much, is that you are not just a trained dancer in Bharatanatyam, but you've done other forms of dance as well over the years. And I feel it's the biggest disgrace that, a dancer as good as you are doesn't get to display it more often, when it comes to celluloid, right? So my question is that, has there been cases where, because of course industry insiders know about it, it's not like they are not aware about, what an actor brings to the table as an external skill, right? So has it ever become a factor that you have had offers, surrounding those genres coming to you, didn't really amuse you, and has it been, okay, you saw something really good and you're like, hey, shit, I wish I could have been a part of it, but for some reason it didn't work?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of times where I've been offered roles where I could do the dancing and song and all of that and look glamorous, look pretty, the conventional,
of course,
thing. But I've not enjoyed maybe the script or maybe my character per se. So then I've said no. I've had to make some hard calls in terms of where I see my career going. What kind of an actor do I want to be? I feel like I've had this kind of a awakening kind of a thing, I think about 2 years ago. And I was like, what is it that I really want to do, man? Like, what is it that I want people to think of when they think of me? Do I want to be just another pretty girl who can dance? Or do I want to be more? And I was like, if I want to be more, then I need to make those kind of professional calls. Then whatever. See, the thing is, also, it's not like it's all in my head, right? It depends a lot on what kind of opportunities that come to me.
Absolutely.
So, with whatever comes, then you have to take a call on what is the best in terms of how you want people to see you. And so, yeah, like the decision to do different parts and to do stronger parts has been very, very, like, it's been a decision.
Correct.
To not just do flimsy parts. I'm not saying those are bad.
Of course not.
I will probably do that. Maybe not right now. Maybe because right now my goal is to be known as an actor, and not just a pretty face. So it's something that I'm consciously trying, to get a validation for. I can act.
Of course.
Because I've also realized with the general perception when it comes to decent looking girls is that she doesn't know how to act. Firstly. And she'll be happy doing song and dance because that's what girls want to do. They want to look pretty, they want to,
be in a big film and do it's okay.
And be with the hero who's well known, do all of that. I feel like I want to break all of those stereotypes.
Absolutely.
And then I don't know if I'll be successful at doing it or not, but at least, the thought is there behind it.
That perfectly segues into what I, have a theory about you as well. And because, I think I've obviously all of us have interviewed multiple people. We keep meeting actors, who are unconventional, in terms of their looks, and then they, get these rooted roles, which is really, really appreciated. Fantastic. Of course, everybody loves them, right? But I have a theory, for someone like you, because everybody talks about this side of the story, but not the other side of the story. When you are someone like you who's conventionally gorgeous, and who has obviously some really good roles. But you also face it, I'm sure you must have faced a lot of limitations pertaining that as well. Because I'm sure there must be so many filmmakers who probably think, अच्छा ये संदीपा है ना वो इसके rooted role के लिए शायद उतना अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. I know, and it happens so often, and that doesn't get talked about as much, right? How much of that have you faced, and does it really irk you even today? Because considering the evolution of portrayal of women and portrayal of characters has really changed now for the better.
So up until maybe a year or two back, I would get very pissed. Because I would be like, it's so unfair that you're judging me on the basis of the way I look. Because as an actor, isn't our job also to use prosthetics, makeup, everything to change the way we look, na? For a character? That's what... Then if you're going to take someone who looks exactly like the character and put them in...
What's the point?
What's the point of it, right?
Yeah.
You have to I remember having conversations with Mukesh Chhabra, the casting director, saying that, what is it that I need to do? Tell me. Because I want to do those, Anurag Kashyap kind of films, who are normal, regular people. Those gritty, raw things. Yeah. I'm like, what do I have to do? Like, I can't change now.
Yeah, I can't go tan.
I'm like, I can go tan. I'm like, you tell me, I will go tan. I will go hunt 5 shades darker if I have to for a role. I'll do whatever it needs. But at least give me that opportunity of a test.
Correct.
Let me at least just audition for it. And then you take a call. Whether you want me for it or not.
True.
But at least give me that opportunity. I do face it. And until a year ago, I was having this conversation with him, yes, sir.
Right.
And I was telling him, how did you think of giving me Mittu? Because again, it's not, she's a more slightly rural, I'm a very urban girl. Somebody would not cast me in a film, in a show like Dr. Aurora.
I agree.
So he's like, I just knew the energy was correct. So I knew that we would be able to get what we needed to get out of it. So I need directors like Imtiaz Ali sir, who recognize that there's a chance that we can take with her.
Absolutely.
So that's what we need. But then I'm like, okay, I've made peace with it that there will be some directors who will recognize it, and then there will be directors who will not recognize it. I can't fight with the world now.
Agree.
So all I can do is make them realize that I am an actor. Now you want to give me the chance? Great. You still don't want to give me the chance? Okay, now what to do?
Know what to do. Yeah, it's beyond your control after a point of time. We can only crib. We can't even crib about it anymore.
No, not anymore, because then you only become more, you become little negative.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to be disillusioned and go into that space at all, because that's not me.
Yeah.
I just want to keep working, man. Now, whether that so from my end, I'm going to try my best to kind of grab onto roles which are different, which you'll enjoy. Sometimes I'll be successful, sometimes I'll not be successful.
True.
But then we'll try and see.
Absolutely.
So destiny hai, wo to hai.
I agree. Super, fantastic. And on similar lines, as I also heard, how you mentioned about Malika being obviously a flawed character, and that gravitates, like that for an actor, that's so much, it's so much meat to work with, so to speak, right? And as I also mentioned, that the evolution of women characters has changed for the better in general.
Yeah.
Of course, there's still a lot to we are still like taking baby steps, I would say, and I'm sure everybody would be on the same page. What do you believe that, a character like Malika or anything darker in its essence gets for an actor, apart from the idea that, I'm getting so much to work with? What is it about that probably is now much more appealing, not just to the viewers, but to the actors as well?
The thing is, when Malika came to me, when the show came to me, the reason I wanted to do the show was, of course, the show in general is entertaining and nice. But I feel like the bigger point that I wanted to make with the show was that a woman on screen doesn't need to be, like if she's a heroine, then she doesn't need to be morally ekdam sati savitri, that she does not make any mistake in her life, that she never takes any wrong decision. We all make mistakes.
Humans.
Yeah. And sometimes we realize, sometimes we don't realize. Sometimes we knowingly make mistakes.
Right.
And sometimes we pay for it, sometimes we don't pay for it. And we lie. We blatantly lie.
Of course.
To people in our lives.
Every day.
Every day. Full on lying we do. And it makes us human, right?
Yeah.
And that is what drew me to Malika, that she was a strong, confident woman who was everything right. Yet she's everything wrong. She's flawed, she lies, she makes mistakes, she does so many things that are questionable.
Right.
But yet, her heart is in the right place.
Of course.
So she's not criminally wrong,
Yeah.
but she's a woman of today who's confused about things, who will go to her best friend and be like, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong, but what do I do? She'll say, don't do this, but I will go and do the same thing, and then she would come back and say, I told you don't do this.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well,
whatever. I learned.
Yeah, I learned.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
You learn.
It's the journey which is very interesting with Malika.
Absolutely. Just a couple more things in this context. Of course, when everybody looks at the trajectory in general, you started out with a great splash. Easy Life Mein was a fabulous film. One of the classic Bajatya, flavor coming into play. Of course, what OTT has, managed to do in the past few years for fine actors like you is finally give them a platform, give them more access, give them more screen time, so to speak. Of course, films have not really done, and it's not just about you, it's like literally a plethora of actors out there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because the first 5 to 6 years would have been so much different had this been there earlier, right? Do you take it as a sense of regret? Maybe regret is a harsher word, maybe it's more like, okay, is it something that I just, had to go through? Or is it something that, I could have probably changed this in some way?
up until a few years ago, I used to feel like, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done this differently. I wish, I had not gone to Australia when I went. Because I went to Australia right after the release of my first film.
Yeah.
And so there have been so many times where I've questioned my decisions. I've questioned, should I have not done this? Should I have done it differently? And then, now when I'm sitting here with you, I feel like everything just happened the way it was meant to happen. Because if it all would have not happened, I wouldn't have been the person that I am right now. If I have not gone through the heartbreaks that I have, I wouldn't know what it is, what it feels like.
True.
To not get something. And to really, really want it and then work really hard because you want it that bad. So I feel like whatever happens in your life is meant to happen exactly like that. I'm glad I took that time off after my first film to learn the craft. Because I was not a trained actor when I started out. I felt like I didn't know anything.
Right.
And I feel like I'm glad that I realized very early on that you need to train as an actor. Basic stuff in order to do this job.
Right.
I'm glad I did theatre for 4 or 5 years. I traveled the world. I did an international musical.
Of course.
All of that. I'm so glad of that. I'm so grateful for that journey of mine. I wouldn't change a thing at all.
Fabulous. And now, again, that segues into of course, I know that you have two really interesting projects ahead. One you can talk about because you've posted and, we already know about it to an extent. But on similar lines, my question is, apart from the fact that you have a film with, Sunny Kaushal, which is in the works right now, and another one as well, how do you envision, your career ahead? I know it sounds a very corporate question. HR puchta hai, where do you see in 5 years? I don't mean it like that. I purely look at a way that, now that opportunities are much more accessible to you. You have better offers. You probably are in a better space in your career than you ever were earlier, right? So now you probably have some liberties as well. Sometimes you want, even if I'm not really leaning towards it, I can say no if I want to. You probably would earlier as well. But today, as I mentioned, it's a different time.
Yeah.
Now, how do you envision it? That, how do you look at it in a way that, okay, this is definitely that I don't want to be a part of no matter what, even if things go awry in my life in one way or another. Is there something like that, or is it still one of those things that you want to go with?
No, like I mentioned, I think a couple of years ago I had that awakening where I was like, listen, I need to make some hard decisions in terms of what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And then stick to it.
Yeah.
Because I will probably make mistakes.
Of course.
But then own those mistakes. But then, so I've been very, very anal about the choices that I'm making. So if I don't see growth in a particular project, I'll not do it. Even if it means it's like in terms of backing, it's great, whatever, all of that. I will not do it now. Because then I have to stick to what I've decided for myself. Then I can't lie to myself. Then that's not fair. Then I have to blame myself only for my failures. No?
Right.
So yes, I've been like that from the past two years.
True.
Where I've taken hard decisions and been like, no, I'm not going to get swayed in by the commercial aspect of it. I'll stick to what I want to be known for, which is a good actor, and I do parts like that.
Yeah.
And work with people that I really feel like I'll grow with.
Right.
Like Lakshman Utelkar sir, and then the next one that I'm doing, again, beautiful set of, directors, production house, where you learn so much, like, from actors. Like I worked with Nimrat, I worked with Sunny, everybody. There's such amazing set of actors that it's so beautiful also to work. When you also grow as an actor, you start realizing how much more work you have to, put in to match their levels. And that's amazing.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned that, we can lie to people, but we can't lie to ourselves. That's the perspective.
इस इंडस्ट्री में ये चीज बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट सीखनी पड़ेगी. खुद से तो झूठ मत बोलो आप, because हम constantly लोगों से झूठ बोलते हैं. तो at least खुद से तो झूठ मत बोलो.
Then you lose your existence, I guess.
That also, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I've had a great chat. Thank you.